Hi there, and welcome to She Spice. Kevin Hart has been all the rage of late with humorists, like Cat Williams going after him left and right. When you figured it couldn't deteriorate, Monique joined the fray, spilling the tea on how it appears as though he's getting into the rhythm of the people pulling the strings. So what precisely did she say? I didn't request that Kevin Hart do whatever he said. I'll cooperate with you. I said great, Kevin, because we're in an arrangement with Indel. Monique introduced her remarks about Hart by conceding that he composed a check to help her when she was down, and that she would be perpetually thankful for it. However, she tried to say that she repaid it with interest. When the entertainer was a visitor on Hart's web recording, Satire Mother Loads in 2021, he presented her as an aunt, a mom, and a soul and called her mom. Mo talked on the digital broadcast about Oprah Perry and valuable chief Lee Daniels, who had not yet openly apologized to her. Hart said he'd connect with Perry to facilitate crushing the hamburger, to which Perry was supposedly not amenable. However, she said Hart guaranteed her he would execute produce and cooperate with her on anything she was chipping away at, which energized her since she and Hicks were chipping away at a syndicated program. Arrangement Hart's director, Dave Becky, purportedly told Monique's creation organization that Hart believed nothing should do with her. I called Kevin Hart right away and let him know they said you would have rather not worked with me. She said he said it's simply a miscommunication. We will talk Tuesday. That was quite a while back. I've at no point ever conversed with Kevin Hart in the future that we're confronted with you permit. Somebody to separate your relationship with a lady you said was like your mom. The Harts and repels aside, at one point the Oscar-winning entertainer had a couple of words for the Morning Meal Club. The struggle among Monique and the Morning Meal Club worked out during a petulant 2018 meeting on the Power 105. One radio program prior that year, Charlemagne the God provided the humorist with the Jackass of the Day for advancing a blacklist of Netflix over racial and orientation predisposition. And afterward, you provide me with the title of Jackass of the Day. Is your mom still alive? Yes, Mom. And you're from what city in South Carolina? Priest's Corner, South Carolina Priest's Corner. And if I somehow manage to call your mom or your grandma, might they at any point let me know accounts of disparity individuals were having Collins. When I said this isn't correct, I was Jackass of the Day. Recall that Monique asked Shannon Sharp on the Club Shay webcast. Mo likewise said the Morning Meal Stubs considered me the Jackass of the Day. That is what they said. And they had an entire bring-in about how I was the Jackass of the Day. However, you didn't do exactly the same thing when you figured out we were settled. We gave Monique a lot of love when the Netflix extraordinary happened. Charlemagne, the God, expressed this on the most recent version of the Morning Meal Club. He likewise added, and I said, you understand, that is the reason I want to mind my damn business when it comes to others' business in June 2022, then have Angela is covered. Monique's finished lawful concurrence with Netflix on the Morning Meal Club. Charlemagne, the God, got some information about the subtleties of the settlement, but he didn't remark further on the circumstances during that specific gossip report section. Now, the abnormal thing about this is that Monique isn't the primary individual to uncover Kevin Hart for supposedly being a power slave, as you saw simply a month prior. Cat Williams sat in a similar seat on the Club Shay web recording, discussing Kevin Hart. Williams started by featuring the surprising direction of Kevin Hart's profession in Hollywood, by first scrutinizing the extraordinary speed with which Hart made progress in 15 years in Hollywood. Nobody in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show where there was a line for him to truly get wildly energetic applause at any parody club. Williams continued and recommended that Hart's quick climb was strange and suggested the conversation starter of whether Hart had really put in his time in the serious universe of stand-up parody. The humorist underlined the meaning of the excursion and addressed whether Hart's apparently momentary achievement was demonstrative of an alternate story. He had already made his arrangements when he arrived. Have we heard about a comic that came to LA? In his most memorable year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network TV and his own film called Soul Plan that he was driving. In the meeting, Cat Williams acquainted the term plant with portraying somebody who apparently shows up all of a sudden and accomplishes accomplishment without the customary battles that humorists frequently face and afterward guarantees they are independent. Williams then caused me to notice the way that Kevin Hart's narrative with Chris Rock uncovered his satire roots on the East Coast. He highlighted an apparent inconsistency in Hart's story, taking note that he just did his narrative with Chris Rock, where he shows you that his entire childhood in parody was on the East Coast, so how all the while was he here in Los Angeles doing likewise? It didn't occur. Williams examined the irregularities in the Hart story, testing the generally acknowledged account of an unexpected phenomenon regardless. Kevin Hart likewise once addressed the gossipy tidbits about his mind-blowing phenomenon. In 2014, Kevin Hart plunked down with Oprah for a meeting on Oprah Prime, where he dug into the complexities of his soaring profession and the unforgiving real factors of making progress in Hollywood. He had an approach to causing all that to appear to be an out-of-the-blue phenomenon that Hart made sense of during the meeting. However, I've had 18 years in the business. I set forth my effort and got contributions that have been endlessly paid once more and paid once again. After that, I remained consistent with my fantasies, and ultimately, they worked out as expected. Oprah brought up the endless diligent people endeavoring to break into the business and make progress. She tested her heart on why he had the option to do it, while so many others confronted unrealistic difficulties. The distinction for me is that I focused on what individuals did before me, whether it was correct or wrong. Hart reflected on everyone who was fruitful and laid out an outline in addition to the fact that Hart paid consideration. Even back in 2014, he encircled himself with unmistakable tokens of the people who were ready for him, from Eddie Murphy to Chris Rock to Richard. Earlier, the walls of his home were enhanced with pictures and artistic creations of jokesters. He considered coaches filled in as day-to-day motivation. I descend, which means each day I take a gander at Richard. He was extraordinary. I see Eddie. He was extraordinary. I see Chris Rock. He was incredible. Hart shared. It's a steady update. What am I attempting to accomplish? I need to be incredible. This enduring inspiration, as heartfeltly communicated in the meeting, was his faith in what put him aside in Hollywood, which isolates me. He expressed that my drive is others' prosperity in any case. Cat Williams didn't stop at addressing Kevin Hart's fast ascent. He likewise dove into the elements of Hollywood guards. Williams tested the thought that there are no watchmen in media outlets, affirming that he has noticed people controlling admittance to open doors. He utilized the case of Kevin Hart evidently letting Tiffany Haddish into the business, bringing up the issue of whether watchmen truly do exist. They let you know that there's no guard except for the fact that we continue to see similar individuals open. Cat Williams likewise resolved the issue of comedic principles during the meeting. He made sense of the fact that his refusal to think twice about specific substances, explicitly staying away from obviously homosex subjects, had prompted him to miss out on open doors. Williams contended that he wasn't against humor, but supported a more insightful and thoughtful way to deal with parody that didn't depend on obsolete and possibly hostile figures of speech. You see, Feline has a long history of getting down on Hollywood elites. The fact that this interview came out makes, what more, their obscure approaches to controlling dark big names in a 2013 meeting with Blacktree Television while examining his part in frightening film 5, Feline dove into a few fascinating subjects, including a hypothesis about dark entertainers being compelled to wear dresses on screen to advance to a higher degree of popularity. It was significant not long after Kevin Hart showed up on ASNL production wearing a dress for Setting Everything, which began when Dave Chappelle, one more respected entertainer, showed up on Oprah's show in 2006, where he discussed his refusal to acknowledge a $50 million arrangement from Funny TV. He felt that such arrangements accompanied surprises, and he was reluctant to be controlled or embarrassed for a check. Chappelle's disclosures didn't end there. He described being approached to wear a dress for a film scene, an encounter that left him profoundly awkward as per him. Numerous humorists had confronted comparable circumstances unfolding dresses on screen, and it frequently harmonized with a basic crossroads in their vocations. This was also a nod to the overarching business conviction that dark performers expected to pass this unconventional boundary to propel. Quick forward to 2012, when Kevin Hart got some information about Dave Chappelle's cases during a public broadcast while he didn't unequivocally express no to truly wearing a dress. Hart stressed the significance of individual limits and expressed that crossing these limits was non-debatable for him. You must have limits. You must have limits that you will not cross. He even referred to instances of unusual solicitations he had gotten, for example, spilling a ball on a syndicated program, which he respectfully declined. Hart focused on the significance of safeguarding his image and the Subscribe She Spice for more video.